sitandtalksports.com. Make sure you tap in with the YouTube. We got a lot of good things going on over there. If you're not involved with the group, make sure you get to the Facebook group, submit that request button. We'll kind of fill you out, make sure we get you in there. We got some really good guys with me today, man. Really, really bright sports guys. And we're going to jump right into it. Obviously, we got a situation going on in Philly that some of us kind of predicted and some of us didn't foresee. The point guard in Philadelphia is back in the building. Fellas, how do we feel about it? AC, I'm going to start with you.
He's increasing his trade value. So if I'm a team that's looking for Ben Simmons, let me see you're healthy. Let me see what you got. Because, you know, his representation, which we know is a little shady to begin with, his representation was like, look, get out there, show what you got, get in with the team. Because I can't foresee – could you brothers play with him again? After everything that he said, after everything that he's done, I wouldn't want to play with him. And then you had Embiid saying, you know, being pretty honest about the situation. And we all know who, I mean, he didn't say a name, but we all know who he's talking about. Who else is he talking about? So right. I personally wouldn't want to play with him again.
Right.
And I think that's just trade value. You know, I'm trying to increase your trade value. Show your face. Let's get it happen, you know.
Right. I'm going to get involved with these two guys down at the bottom. If you guys don't know who they are, if you're in the basketball world anywhere in the Northeast region or just anywhere, you should know these two brothers in terms of their impact on basketball. We got my guy C-Mac and my guy G-Smooth down at the bottom. I'm going to let these brothers really tap in with it because these are basketball savants, if you will. C-Mac, I'm going to start with you, man. How you feeling about it? Aaron made some good points. You can play on those as well.
Man, so here's the thing with Simmons. If they winning fixes everything. Like, they come back and they start winning. Are you trading Ben Simmons? Nope.
Yes.
They're not.
Still trading him.
If they come back and if they beat the Nets or in a regular season, because Philly fans, man, they're raunchy, but I don't know if they start winning, I think that changes the dynamic. If they're losing, I don't know how he can help his trade value. I am excited though to very much see what it looks like with Drummond on the how Drummond, and I want people to pay attention to this. If Ben Simmons plays, I want people to notice how much better he may play with Drummond than he does with Embiid. You want to know why? Because Drummond will run that floor, and when he gets when Simmons goes downhill, and Drummond's man is already occupied with Drummond, you're gonna see Simmons get wherever he wants to on the court, which is different compared to Embiid, who usually trails the play. So I think Simmons coming back will depend on the first 5 to 8 games, how depending on how Philly's playing. Because if they're winning, I don't know if Morey is going to pull the trigger on that. I don't know if Doc is going to pull the trigger on that. He's still 6'10". He's still Ben Simmons.
Right. G, tap in with us, man. What's up? How you feeling about it?
I think I did foresee this coming. I didn't predict him to Portland. I didn't predict him to, I think it was Brooklyn. Golden State. Right. Oh no, sorry. And even Corey in Clubhouse said Golden State. I thought Ben Simmons would be in a Philadelphia uniform. I think Aaron made the best point. If your last time we saw you, you were reluctant to take shots,
scared,
also so reluctant that we're passing the ball, when we're 2 feet away. Like, again, I don't want to make something big of that, but the truth is perception is reality. And that's really the last moment that people remember, or one of the key ones that we remember of Ben Simmons. So you never want to leave a team like that, really, because ultimately your trade value is that.
Right.
So he does have to play up his trade value. So I thought, for one, that'd be the reason why I'd be there. But two, again, to Corey's point, when it goes right, it's right. When Philly's right, they're right. This is not a 8 seed team.
They were number one.
They're number 1 seed team. Do I think he would depart or would they trade him? No. If everything plays the way it should, Ben Simmons should be in a Philly uniform, and I actually think they should be pretty good. I just think him and Embiid just need to square up at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been thrown out there. We know who Embiid's talking about. They need to hash out something because ultimately that's the greatness of that franchise.
Right.
So
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine.
For you two brothers, right? If Sacramento calls and say I've got De'Aaron Fox and Bagley Jr. and a pick, you listening?
Halliburton.
Oh, I'm definitely listening.
I'm listening.
I'm definitely listening. But will De'Aaron Fox impact winning with Embiid, similar to how Simmons, when he's right, has done with Embiid as well? I think what Simmons does to impact the game is greatly underrated because he really makes up for a lot of mistakes and for a lot of defensively deficient folks on the wing, like Curry and these other folks. Now with you got Tybalt there obviously as well, but yeah, the Sacramento trade would make a lot of sense, and I think Philly will have to be seriously overwhelmed by a trade if they're playing well to push Simmons up.
Right. Now, I got a quick couple points. Y'all know what I do for a living, so obviously the economics of it is kind of making sense to me. I believe the brother was set to lose about $380,000 per game. Mm-hmm. So that's, every 12 quarters, that's $1 million. You know what I'm saying? You taking that upside the head too many times, it'll put some sense into you. Yep. I want to really tap in with G and Corey in terms of the coaching, because if you guys, again, if you don't know these brothers have had great impacts on what they do for the game of basketball in terms of coaching. I look at Doc, man. I look at Doc a lot, and I look at Doc and say, how much of this do we put on him? For one, I think the public comments about Ben were egregious. That shouldn't happen, especially with a veteran coach like Doc, a coach that's been successful. Even letting the play, the whole situation just got kind of out of hand. And then you have to look at leadership at that point. Does Doc not have control of that locker room? Why is it a media circus? You know what I mean? Why is this internal issue on the front of every sports paper, and this the topic of every ESPN? This should have been in-house. This is house business. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think it's on Doc a lot, maybe not even scheming up the right plays to use the personnel to the best of their ability. And again, I'm on record saying that I thought it was a good fit because, the last, I believe, point guard to win a championship who wasn't a score force point guard was coached by Doc Rivers in Boston with Rondo. So Doc knows how to make these pieces work. And I look at him and I have a lot of question marks with him, like what's going on out there? Why are you not leading the way that we know you can? Also, on top of that, I think I forget which one you brought it up, but a great question was, do his players rally around him? Like, this is the point guard. This is the max player. This is the point guard. His whole team was, I believe I read this properly, his whole team was looking to jet set out there and reason with him because they wanted him. And he told them, don't bother. You know what I mean?
That's what I think it's.
How do you then a month later, a couple of weeks later, expect these guys to welcome you back with open arms? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know we've all played sports. A team is a brotherhood. If one of our brothers tell us to, kiss his ass and kind of humiliate us on a national scale, how do you just forgive that? We're all from a place where you could take it out back, and I think someone said maybe shoot the fair one or something like that, and I'm all for that. But I have a lot of questions about how how are they going to come back cohesive? And I think C-Max said it brilliantly. Winning cures everything. In the realm of sports, if you're winning, it doesn't matter if you like each other or not. We've seen Shaq and Kobe make diss records about each other, but still hoist championships. Winning cures everything. And if they can win, we probably don't even speak about this again. I think the first maybe 15 games are going to be telling. If they're 12-3 and they're tops in the East, and I think that cures a lot of what we're discussing right now. Those are some of my thoughts. I want to get with G and C-Mac, and then we can close out with Aaron. How's the coaching point look to you guys?
Well, I'll say this. I don't blame Doc for the anomaly that is a 6'10", non-elite scoring threat of a point guard alongside a 7'1" behemoth post and perimeter presence. That's a really good problem to have. But I'm not going to kill Doc for those guys not figuring it out in the playoffs several times, right? but I will say this: I think there's a temperament that Doc has got to basically put in the box, man. When you're in the off season or you're at the press conference table, be very mindful of some of those things you say, because it's one thing when a player says it and then becomes an issue with the player, right? When a coach says it, it becomes an issue with the team, right? Again, I just think that's when you have to be very careful. But I also say this, man, I don't think Doc Rivers is at the helm of this problem. While I think he's got to be very careful, I don't think he's not at the helm of this problem. It's a lot more going on than just Doc.
I blame Doc Rivers for so much of this. It is ridiculous.
What?
I'll tell you why.
Let's go, see.
If Doc Rivers did not solve the Embiid Simmons problem, he is Brett Brown. That is why Doc Rivers is in Philly. Otherwise, Brett Brown would still be there. His inability. Do you think if Ben Simmons was playing for Eric Spoelstra with Pat Riley hovering around, you think he's getting on that way? You think if he's in San Antonio, you think he's getting on like that? You think if he is playing for someone who holds players like even homeboy from New York, Coach Tibbs. Coach Tibbs was the reason the Celtics was being tough like that anyway, right? Doc Rivers has never been an alpha male. He's been great. He's been good when he had alpha male players. So when you have Embiid and Simmons, for the folks who are talking about they should have got the fair ones, all of us know the streets. We would have been got the fair ones from the jump. Get it out the way. We would have been fighting at practice. We would have been, every time I see you, I would have fought you until we figure this whole shit out. Right. So the bottom line is Ben Simmons is allowed to be that way because Doc Rivers has implored him to become a better leader, put him in built a good enough relationship with him where you say, hey, man, I trust you to shoot these jump shots. Or even give Embiid or empower Embiid to really, really, truly be that guy, because Embiid seems like he's not even on the same page with Doc Rivers. So I do blame Doc Rivers. And then most importantly, he didn't have to say those 3 words, I don't know. If he doesn't say I don't know, we're not here right now talking about Ben Simmons.
Right. AC, close us out on this topic, bro.
Great point.
Just to rebut what was just said, I don't, Doc Rivers has some culpability where he says, I don't know. He's got to be more aware where he's at. We all know that. I don't think that's an arguable point. What I do think is an arguable point is, we know that I'm an analysis guy. And Noah, being in finance, if you look at Ben Simmons' candlestick, his candlestick has been trending down his entire U.S. career. So when he first picks LSU as a top guy, and he picks a school where he gets, where he has no culpability, where he picks a coach who's not going to get on him so he can do what he wants when he wants to do it. We know that. When he gets to Philly, he is a freaking dynamo. Like, I would have traded 3 picks for Ben Simmons in that draft. I think that was the Marcus Smart draft. Has Ben Simmons gotten better? Does Ben Simmons care about his craft? Has Ben Simmons been the same player with a little slight improvement that he was as a rookie? How can Doc Rivers fix that? So to your point about Tibbs, and is Ben Simmons playing for Spoelstra? Is Ben Simmons playing for, in San Antonio? They wouldn't have picked him. They would have assessed the situation and been like, he's not a player that we want in our culture, because they would have known that, his heart pumps Kool-Aid. There's no way that at 6'10", with the skill set that he has, especially on the defensive end that he has, that the output of what he, that we should be seeing the output of what he is. Remember, he's as the same class as I'm pretty sure it was Marcus Smart. If right now you're talking about trajectory, are you picking Ben Simmons over Jason Tatum? Are you taking Ben Simmons over any of sort of the younger stars that have come after him right now? If you're telling me, if you're Memphis and Philly calls you and say, hey, we want Ja, you take Ben, are you doing that trade? If you hesitate, there's a problem, because we got a max player who's a veteran now, and we got a third-year guy. Ja and all those other players have passed Ben Simmons. That's not a Doc Rivers issue. That's a player issue who doesn't care about his craft.
Wow.
If you're Ben Simmons, you could justify if you got better every year. You still made all defensive first team. You finished third or second or third in defensive player of the year, right? I think from watching
That's what you were supposed to do. We already knew that.
You made the All-Star game again, right?
Don't give me All-Star game, please. Don't give me All-Star game.
If you're Ben Simmons and talking about marketability, so then you're also saying, hey, I added all these guys to my team, so I'm the point guard. My numbers got to be sacrificed. I got Tobias Harris came. I got the other Curry comes. I'm sacrificing a little bit. I'm making the case for Ben Simmons, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's it. That's all that's happening. And I can flip it and say, hey, I led my team to the number 1 seed as the point guard, and I made the All-Star game.
Did you? Because was Embiid in the MVP voting, or was Simmons? Simmons was everything that you just mentioned was what he's supposed to do as the number 1 pick. That's the bare minimum where he's at.
You're talking about whether or not he improved. I'm telling you the case that he could make for improvement. Right. He impacted winning. He could just be like, hey, look at what happens when I'm on the court.
Right. And his teammates would say they won in spite of him because they went, like Noah said, they went out there to try to, talk to the man, and he embarrassed them.
Right.
Impacting winning and improving your game to elevate your team. I just think we're talking about two different things there. Right. And that's where I just think this is on Ben.
Right.
This is on Ben. This is on a guy. I watch so many guys, man. Some of these guys that have taken some of these 5-195, 5-175 deals and stamp on it and improve their game. I can look, the guy you just mentioned, Tatum. Again, not vast improvement to where, again, we're leading it to multiple finals, but I'll be damned if he hasn't gotten better.
Right. Vastly overrated Jaylen Brown.
There you go.
There's another one.
There you go.
Right. Fellas, I think we might circle back to this Ben Simmons at the end of this thing, but I'm really excited to get into this next topic, man, because we got a Laker fan in here, and we got to talk about it, man. We got to talk about it. Lakers Big Three makes their debut, and it stunk. Fuck is going on out there, G? Got to start with you. You muted right now, G. Unmute yourself, please, brother. We need to hear you.
I'm here. Okay. Listen. So let me get this out the way. Let me get this really out the way.
What's yours, brother?
I won't go for the early slander that is what Russell Westbrook now all of a sudden can't play. He's not a great point guard. He's dumb. It missed me with the 15 turnover nonsense. All right, in a couple of games. I thought for the short stint in which they played the other night, I thought they looked okay. I am looking at a team that is really no different than some of these other new cohesions of look, I don't want to say super team, but
say it.
These new super teams, when they begin, don't all of a sudden get off to a roaring start. All right, I'm just going on. Just traditionally, that's what happens.
The data suggests it.
Data's absolutely suggested. I'm glad I didn't have to go there. This team will not only get it done. I think when it comes down to it, they'll be one of the better teams defensively in the league. Russell will clip his triple-double notches at about 15 to 16, 11 and 10, as opposed to your 12, 25, 17 and 15 numbers, or 14.
That means nothing, but go on.
Okay, again, we're going to contribute to winning. Anthony Davis stays healthy. And I think the roster outside of LeBron, AD, and Russ, that unit will continue to get better as time goes along. I think Carmelo looks great. I think he fits. So that's the one that. What was that?
The brother looks lean.
Looks lean. Looks healthy. He's moving well. I just think he fits. He's comfortable. And I think they've already kind of solidified a role for him. Mm-hmm. So again, there's no trouble in paradise there yet. But again, it's do I love Russ turning it over 15 times and people roaring about it? Yeah, keep that same energy. Keep that energy.
Okay. Thank you for leading us off, G, about a team that looks terrible. You made it look good. You put a little pearl necklace on the ape and told us it was not an ape. But
I did not mention. I never once. Funny thing is, I never ever once mentioned number 6 in this whole ordeal, because apparently he may cure us all. So let's see.
Well, I did like. There were some parts that were hopeful. That I did like some parts of their being on the floor together. The AD worries me. He tries to post, dudes push him up about 14, 15 feet away from the basket. He catches it. There's not really cutting off of him. I have a problem with their offense. I think, I said this before, whether it's Clubhouse or on here, about having the running the triangle offense and thinking and really getting some of those 20 plus options off of that, because there's no movement. I saw a lot of handoffs into a one-on-one. They don't have the Hardens, the Irvings, and the Durants to be trying to do that. I think they just got to get some stuff off the movement. So I'm a little bit underwhelmed by what I see, but I know it's also preseason. LeBron looks he looks a lot more comfortable, but I'm very worried about lineups that they have. That's my thing. Is my problem with the Lakers is their lineups. I worry about Carmelo Anthony. I worry about how the ball looks leaving his hand. I worry about, we know Melo has a footwork. We know Melo, it just doesn't, the rotation's not there. It looks like a little bit of a hitch in his shot, and it bothers me. He doesn't look comfortable to me. Contrary to what you think, Smooth, but that's your team. But as far as Westbrook, so if Westbrook is, last night it was very strange. I think Westbrook really trying to define LeBron early in transition is not what's going to work for the Lakers. Westbrook getting on the attack is what we need. Freaking my team, but what they need, right? If Westbrook can get into some action, dribble till somebody stops you, then compromise the defense, suck the defense in, hit LeBron on a handoff, he could hit AD over the top from there, if not finish. That should just all they do, and everybody else just running the wings, right? If they're intentional on doing that, they'll be a lot better than what I saw last night.
AC, then I'll go.
I think if LeBron James leads this team to a title, all discussion about who the greatest player of all time is over. The garbage that the Lakers have assembled and the mismatched pieces are when you're talking about Russell Westbrook, like I was in the clubhouse with Kangaroo there the other day, and I mentioned how Russell Westbrook and a certain other player who I'm sure we'll talk about later. Russell Westbrook doesn't fit a winning basketball team, period. Anthony Davis is a Kentucky product. If they weren't in the bubble, they wouldn't have won. You got Rondo, who I think might be, in terms of fit, the best player to fit. I think he will help a lot. And then I think this team being the age that they are, I don't think Melo is even worth mentioning. He's a bench player.
Oldest team ever.
He's been a bench player for a very long time. If he embraces that role, then actually that makes them better. It makes them a lot better than what people are saying, but I don't think he will. So if LeBron leads this team to the NBA title and he's beating the likes of Brooklyn and Milwaukee and Denver, and he goes through that gauntlet, we end discussion of who the greatest player of all time. And this is me fully acknowledging that LeBron has quit on several teams, that he's a pussy, and all the rest of those accolades and adjectives that you want to use. If he leads this team to the title, LeBron James is the greatest player of all time.
But simply because the roster just looks a mess to you, right?
The roster not looks a mess.
AC's talking so crazy, his shit kind of
players thought to how they would fit. He got a bunch of players with no thought to how they would fit together. When the Celtics had Morris and all the same 6'8" wing doing the exact same freaking thing that couldn't shoot a three. Now you got ball dominant players, all with who's in their prime right now. During the last shot, if it's 3 seconds left, balls on games on the line. You have an old LeBron, you have a AD that can't shoot, you have a Russell Westbrook who should never shoot, and you have Carmelo who wants to shoot but shouldn't. Who's taking the last shot?
I think you default. I think you default to the who is doing the playmaking at that point, right?
Who's doing the playmaking?
LeBron, right? Now the question is going to be what happens when they start losing games with Russ on the floor in that situation, and then they know they can win games with Russ off the floor and LeBron making the decision making with Ellington on one side, Melo on the other, AD up the middle with Rondo around. Like,
and your point is absolutely perfect, because if you got to take what is he, a $40 million ball player?
He's the highest paid player on that team.
Right. If you got to take the highest paid player on your team to put in freaking Rajon Rondo, because the highest paid player on your team, you do not want him with the ball in his hands or taking shots. He can talk this 15 turnover. That don't mean bleat to me and blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, practice makes perfect. The preseason is for you to hash this shit out. So it's not like you're going to go through the preseason, they're going to turn a switch, and all of a sudden he's not going to be Russell Westbrook, one of the worst shooting players of all time, of NBA history, and all of a sudden he's going to be good.
I just don't think Aaron, I don't think you're looking at it from what you're used to seeing from Russell Westbrook. I confidently think and believe that this took a buy-in, not only from Russell, from LeBron, from Carmelo, but also Rondo as well. All the main cogs collectively had to buy in and say, hey, this is what's on our team, and this is what I believe worked. Also, Russell Westbrook has not lost a meaningful game yet as the starting point guard for the Lakers. So I do not want to jump off this cliff and say that these guys are a complete mess. I think there's a switch. I don't believe in complete switches, but I do think here's what I'll land on.
Mm-hmm.
Once the Lakers hash out the rotations, this will be this is where Frank Vogel will actually make his money. He has to. He will absolutely have to make his money.
LeBron
and sort out these. Like you say again, it can be him too. It can be a collective deal. But this is where they've got to make their money in terms of rotations, and find the right lineups that work against some of these teams that I saw in watching Jordan Poole play the 2, the 3, and the 1, kind of dismantle him a little bit, right? But again, I think this all comes down to rotations. Once they find those, they'll be fine. Russ will have his typical aggression. There is no trouble in paradise, Noah.
What scenario could anybody draw from this that puts Russell Westbrook being successful in LA? AC? Noah? What scenario can he be successful in?
If I'm going by the data,
a lot of slander. I just want to know.
If I'm going by the data, and I'm a data dude, there is no scenario in which Russell Westbrook succeeds unless LeBron James becomes the greatest player of all time. I believe in LeBron, so I wouldn't bet on Russell Westbrook and the rest of the players because they're all horrible. But I do know that LeBron is very good, and LeBron might be able to overcome what Russell Westbrook is. That's why I wouldn't be comfortable in saying like I'll give you an example. Last year I was more than comfortable saying there was no way Brooklyn was winning the title based on the data. With LeBron, because LeBron is LeBron, based on the data, I'm not comfortable saying that there's no way the Lakers can win the title. Just because LeBron has taken worse teams to the NBA Finals. You know what I mean? So data-wise, forget emotional, just data-wise, I have data that tells me LeBron can overcome this slump.
What about you, Smooth?
I think there's plenty of scenario where Russ.
Hold on.
No, excuse me. Yeah. Listen, you've heard enough from me. Noah, where are you at?
What about you, Noah?
Where are you at, Noah?
Man. I think the Russell Westbrook signing itself was a bit of a novelty. You know, it was, okay, Brooklyn has 3 superstars. We need 3 superstars. We've seen LeBron have to go up against juggernauts as teams. He's been outclassed and outmanned almost every finals he's ever been in. I think they just pulled the trigger. They needed a name. It felt very much like when Russell went and got Kemba. Just a name. They got a name to pass the fan base. You lost Kyrie, you're going to get Kemba, everyone's excited. I said it wasn't going to work. I'm on record saying it wasn't going to work, and it didn't work. And I'm on record saying that Russell Westbrook was not the right person for this team, given the way LeBron succeeds, given the way the floor needs to be spaced, given the shooters that they needed to now have your highest paid player kind of be a liability. It's kind of a liability. I mean, you don't want the ball in your highest paid player's hands in crunch time. The fuck are you paying him for?
So he's Ben Simmons now.
No. I'm also on record. I'm a big Westbrook fan. I'm a big Westbrook advocate. Everyone knows this. I speak very highly about Westbrook. I'm a big Westbrook advocate.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. Again, we're actually toe on the player, but we're talking about the situation.
Russ is a dog. I just don't think the fit is right. The fit is not right. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. LeBron has proven to be able to be successful, lead his teams into successful situations if the construct fits. If the team roster construct fits, he can do great things. Even when it doesn't, he can do great things. I just have a lot of question marks in terms of what does that look like when Russell Westbrook is out there shooting 20% a game, turning the ball over an uncanny amount of times on a team that's the oldest team ever. You really want to minimize your margin of error, and what you do by signing Westbrook to this particular team is you make that margin of error. It's a lot wider now because you got some serious questions to answer. Like I think it's madness to suggest that y'all have to bench Russell Westbrook in crunch time. $44 million a year. He might not be your best option. He might be a liability on the floor when you guys need to win close games. That is a problem. That is a major problem. That is a major issue that you guys have to figure out. Not only are you the oldest team ever, like not even it's the oldest team ever. I think the pieces on that roster, while it looks really good, you know, you got a lot of big names. It looks like the 2013 All-Star team from the East. Like you got a lot of names there, but I don't know if you guys are going to find cohesion, if you're going to find harmony, because a lot of those styles just don't mesh well. It just doesn't mesh well when I'm interested to see how they use Carmelo. I mentioned that the brother looks lean. I'm a big Melo fan. I was at that Syracuse game against Manhattan when it was at the Fleet Center when I was a little kid. I'm a big Melo fan. I don't know how a lot of these pieces and a lot of these talents congeal. I don't know how they come together.
Man, it's too bad we're not just playing 2-on-2 and 3-on-3. You know, they got a guy by the name of Malik Monk. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Horton Tucker. I don't know.
How long is he out? Couple months.
Where's Matt McClung? Where's he at?
Don't fucking bring him
now AC. Now you know better.
I'm a Matt McClung fan. Where's he at?
First of all, I don't want to go back to some of the posts where people said Matt McClung wouldn't touch an NBA jersey, but I'll digress.
No, you can go back to him because people bring it up all the time. Matt McClung, to me, is a serviceable backup. But go on, finish your point.
No, we can talk about that all day. I'm actually with you.
That was a serious question. How long is THT out?
I think it may be 4 to 8. I think it may be 4 to 8. I'll double check.
Okay.
But I think THT is valuable. I think, and there's a reason why he was still on that roster.
There was a reason they held on to him. Absolutely.
Yeah, again, as they say, one of LeBron's guys.
Right.
And again, I thought he was as good as any. Very unique game, but I just think there's more to the Lakers roster than just these three. I think you'll find Russell playing the first 4 to 6 minutes of the first quarter. He'll play the last 6 of the second, last 4. You'll see him eking at just above 30 a game as far as minutes is concerned. I think they're going to keep the middle minute totals sort of down so that we can preserve guys, use the bench, but also let's make sure we have the healthiest roster walking into the playoffs.
Bet the under on the win total. Definitely.
Let me
Definitely taking the under. So I'm with you on that. We can go there.
Let me say this much. Without LeBron James on the team as constructed, they would still win 50 games. They should be able to win 50 games. Now, without LeBron on the team. With LeBron on the team, I think they can win about 56. Hold on.
So LeBron's a 6-game swing?
Listen, I think
about it. Go there. Think about it.
When it matters most, we have to recognize that part of the problem is LeBron being out there with Westbrook.
Boom.
Right? That team with AD and Westbrook and those other folks, Nunn and Ellington, they could get to 50 games. But when it matters most, what are you going to do with Westbrook and LeBron out there? That's one. That's one. Number two.
Collapse the floor. Collapse the floor and dare them to shoot.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only way that they could, to answer the question I posed, the only way they could function with putting LeBron and Westbrook on the floor is if you put Westbrook in the dunker's spot. If you put Westbrook in the dunker's spot, he then becomes a very lethal offensive rebounder. He'll get the stick backs. He'll get the cheap rebounds and kick them out. That is the best scenario with the high pick and roll with AD or Ellington and somebody else on the wing, and then Westbrook in the dunker spot. Because now you become very lethal on the offensive boards.
So
and
agree with that.
Take the ball out of Westbrook's hands.
You take the ball, you let him go head first. You let him go 100 miles an hour. Hand that bitch off to LeBron, stick him in the dunker spot, and you know how quick he is to the ball. Because I always tell my teams when I was coaching them, when we were smaller, we played against Karl Anthony Towns, right? And the only reason we were able to stay in that game is because the rule was, hey, they're bigger than us, but we're faster to the ball. And if you put Westbrook in the dunker spot, you're in good shape because he's so adamant about getting rebounds and he's relentless on the offensive boards. He could at least either get you a stick back, get fouled in one, or kick it back out. Question is, and I know AC is thinking the same thing, will he commit to doing something?
Will he buy in? And that's the ultimate question.
And if he does, it's because of LeBron, and that's what I'm saying. If he does, it's because of LeBron, and no freaking Frank Vogel. And then LeBron becomes the greatest player of all time. Because if you can get Russell Westbrook to realize that you're a 20% shooter, don't touch the fucking ball. I got the ball. You just catch it and dunk and scream and make a mean face. Then LeBron becomes the greatest player of all time. I think that's the end for me. That's all I gotta say.
Really think about how effective Westbrook could be in that dunker spot.
I'm with you,
I like that plan. Yeah, I think that's a good
I don't
plan.
hate it. Only problem is, again, I'm just trying to be a realist on that one now. Like, does Russ say, like, was that a part of the buy-in conversation? Hey, we're gonna put you in the dunker spot, bro. It's gonna work tremendously. Like, again, it's all about the buy-in. Mm-hmm. Was that part of the buy-in?
I don't think it. I mean, there was no way it wasn't. Like, LeBron is too smart to not have had that conversation.
I would hope so. I would hope he did.
Go and get him, knowing what you'd be sacrificing in terms of your spacing, in terms of just everything else that comes with Russell Westbrook, some of the bad that comes with him. There's no way you can let him sign that contract without having that conversation and really knowing that he's on board with that. Because if he's not on board with it, then you're screwed. I think we should circle back to this a little bit at the end as well. There's a couple more points I kind of want to hone in on. But the natural transition from one of the finals favorites is to move on to the other finals favorites. And, are we still finals favorites given the circumstances that we're dealing with? Our point guard's got a whole different situation going on. So we're going to
please let me start so I don't interrupt everybody else.
We're going
to Please go ahead, AC.
And then we're going to shoot over to JFK, and then we're going to take it to Atlantic Ave. That's all right. And we're going to talk about my Brooklyn Nets and the situation that we're facing with. Reports have been released that Nets brass, of course, spoke to their superstars. They spoke to James Harden. They spoke to Kevin Durant about what to do with this Kyrie Irving situation. We've kind of tapped in on this a few times before this report. This report is now released. We have new information. We're going to circle back. We're going to let AC do what AC does when AC doesn't like something. So put your seatbelts on, put your helmets on.
You need to go that far, but I'm going to talk first about the basketball, and then I'm going to talk about the politics, because I think the politics are a bit more important especially among ourselves as black men, and I know a lot of people watching. So about the basketball, I'm on record as saying I think, I told you already, I would make another bet if Kyrie is off that team, Brooklyn's going to the finals. I've already said that. I said they found a way to trade Kyrie, they get better to me. I don't think you can win with a player like that. He's proven that you can't unless you have LeBron. I think he hurts you more than he helps. On the basketball side, to where you have a James Harden who, although he's almost unwatchable at this point in terms of his game, he does facilitate. And they were stronger, I felt.
Really good at it too.
Right. And I felt that they were stronger with a injured Harden or a hobbled Harden than they would have been with a Harden, Kyrie, and Durant. And I think regardless of how you want to look at it, that's just how I felt about it. But now you have a situation where Brooklyn has added to the point. And if you look at the moves that they made, if you were paying attention, it's almost as if they added with this kind of in mind. So we're all now reacting to it. Hey, we just assume maybe this would work itself out or he was playing on his road. You think the GM of Brooklyn just now decided that he wasn't going to be, he was only going to be playing road games? They knew already. And I think if you look at their roster, it's built with Kyrie's absence in mind, at least to me. And that's what I see on the basketball side. To me, I think Brooklyn is a strong, maybe forget about seeding in NBA because they'll take, the regular season off or whatever. To me, Brooklyn is a stronger contender to go to the finals this year than they were last year. Just that's the basketball side of it. On the political side of it, for me, and we've had this discussion. We had it with Gruden, with some of the other brothers. When we talk about politics and we talk about what impacts us as black men, I'm perfectly fine with somebody having a dissenting opinion. So between all three of us, I've argued with all three of you at various levels, in the group or what have you. Noah and I have chopped it up on, on the phone or in person, whatever. Dissenting opinions are fine. It's when you use my plight and when you use the pain of other black men to further your own agenda is when I have an issue. So if you don't believe in the vaccine, cool. You don't believe in it. I completely disagree with some of the views that people have if you don't believe in the vaccine. But I take the opposite view to where a lot of brothers go, well, I don't trust medicine. I don't trust this. I don't trust that. I take the opposite view to where I believe it is in sinister white interest or sinister other interest to convince us to take the available avenues that we have and get access to better medicine. So we die of heart disease, we die of this, we die of that, not because it's not available to us. We all are gainfully employed, we all have health insurance. It's because we simply don't go. And then you have a guy who's as prominent, who's influential as Kyrie Irving, especially to younger black men in their 20s and things like that. And you have someone in his position who has a personal belief, who is telling black men don't trust medicine. And we can say, and I'm sure the rest of you are going to say, I don't trust it. I don't have the vaccine. I will never get the vaccine. That's perfectly fine. You're heads of household and things like that. You're not in Kyrie Irving's position. So what LeBron said, although I disagree with what he said, I think LeBron, whether he did it for his brand or whatever, LeBron telling people, hey, look, I didn't want to take it at first. I looked at the situation. I talked to my doctor. He didn't tell people, don't go, don't do this. LeBron says, I talked to my doctor. I decided to get it. I felt that was best for me and my family. Leaving your teammates out to dry and not being able to play, like you said, we're not going to talk about the man's pocket. If he don't want to do the money, he don't want, he can give up the money. He can afford it. Last year or 2 years ago in the bubble, when he was telling guys to, oh no, go on strike, do this, and telling people to lose their money when he was going to get paid because he was on the injury list. I think that's sort of the snake type of shit that you can't trust from brothers like that. And whether this goes across the world or whatever, that is to me a situation when you have, and you mentioned the street earlier, every now and then we get somebody who's from around the way and he's an athlete, football, basketball, baseball, whatever, and he ends up in some trouble back around the way. And he does it, to me, A lot of us know that he ends up in trouble, not because brothers are jealous, but because this particular athlete starts to get a big head and he forgets who he's talking to. So he ends up back around the way and brothers have to check him. Kyrie has not been checked. I think he's using certain situations to further his little sage bullshit ass agenda, the fake, the fake Islam, which offends me personally. Um, and I've said it in print, I'll say it on camera. If the man calls me to go to his house, I'll say it at his doorstep. I think that when you have a black man and us as black men, and you're telling black men not to get yourself checked out, that this is wrong. They're putting, I don't think Kyrie himself was talking about microchips, but he shared or liked or whatever, shit that the reporters say that cause problems. When he does stuff like that, the fact is, whether I follow him or not is irrelevant. I'm a grown ass man, but a 20-year-old brother does, and I think that is a huge problem. It's a problem basketball wise because it tells you he doesn't care about his teammates. He hasn't come and tried to figure out a resolution, and it also tells you that the things that he professes to care about, he doesn't. It's just about him. So I can say a lot more on it, and I can rant a lot more on it, but your personal feelings aside, as heads of household, as fathers, as cousins, as whatever, we cannot tell black people to distrust medicine. If you don't want to go to, Weinstein doctor, there are black doctors. There are black nurses. We have black women who are getting the worst health care. They're dying simply having babies at a rate that far outstrips white women. And some of that is because in the prenatal process, we have sisters that don't trust the system. We have sisters who are married or dating black men who tell their spouses, don't trust this, don't trust that. We cannot give Kyrie a pass. If he doesn't want the vaccine, okay, that's his personal choice, because we had a situation in Golden State. And the brother, whatever he had to do to come at peace with himself, he did. He wasn't going and preaching not to take it. Like, I did follow Kyrie on Instagram and stuff like that. He's doing a disservice. He's doing a huge disservice. And that's pretty much what I have to say about it. You can talk the basketball, you can talk your personal politics, but advocating for black people to distrust medicine, I think is wrong. It's on the wrong side, and you go too far.
No, I agree with a lot of points that AC has made. Where I will disagree, and like he said, he's a grown ass man. What I will disagree and say is that I think Kyrie's on a journey, man, and it's hard enough for us to. Maybe he doesn't have the fortitude that a lot of us have to find ourselves, but he's juggled a lot of religions in front of us. He's juggled a lot of beliefs in front of us. So that's a clear indicator that he's trying to find something that sticks, right? I'm not comparing him to Malcolm X at all, but everybody has had their journey where they're trying to find themselves. So I'm trying to be a little bit more patient with him with that respect. Now, to the point of discouraging people from getting from medicine, that is insane, because if they really wanted to eradicate and get rid of black folks, they would have just put it in our little Debbies when we were kids, right? Or they would have
one drink. One drink. You had to stop drinking. I forget what the shit was called.
You've seen Black Dynamite. We've seen,
Right. Oh, was it the Mad Dog?
Yeah, the snake.
Mad Dog was gonna get you regardless.
Yeah. Make you go.
It wasn't Mad Dog. It was something for kids. I forget what it was called, but I know.
Well, it wasn't the teeny juice, and it would have got us with the teeny juice. So what I'm saying is, to AC's point, man, we don't go, right? And that should be a fucking shirt, AC, right? We don't go, and if we need to start going. As someone who's sick right now, like with COVID, I am so glad that I go to my doctor. It is crazy, because I don't know what kind of health situation I'd be in right now. But Kyrie Irving, I although like a lot of people are being so disrespectful to a man on his journey that is making an independent decision. That's what made me started liking LeBron James. When LeBron made the decision to go to Miami, a lot of people were mad at him. I wasn't mad because a black man making his own decision, a black man changing jobs, it's not how he did it. I don't give a fuck how he did it, right? Somebody got $2 million out of it. He changed jobs, right? So I'm not mad at Kyrie for that particular part at all. From a basketball standpoint, I will say this. They don't win. They don't win the championship without Kyrie Irving. They don't. And the reason they don't, because when they played together last year, that man was in the post. That man was cutting off the ball. He was getting stickbacks. He was getting rebounding. And if you looked at the one guy, I'm going by all 7 games I saw them play together. He was the one guy that they all wanted to go get that bucket, and he was getting it, right? So
7 games.
Right. But I know for what he does, what he was willing to do is more than what Harden was trying to do. And Durant by himself is different because Durant makes decisions not to be involved in the game sometimes. That's why I think separates him from being one of the greatest all time. Sometimes he just is there, right? It's just weird to me, right? So from my perspective, they can't get past the Bucks unless they need Kyrie Irving. They need Kyrie Irving to fucking give it to Jrue Holiday, to tire that motherfucker out, right? Because if they don't, they're gonna be in for a long. They're gonna give up a lot of. They're gonna have a lot of long possessions. They're gonna give up a lot of offensive rebounds, and they're gonna and they're gonna tire them out. So I think that he's important in that sense. But the last thing I will say back to Kyrie Irving. He deserves a lot. He deserves a lot of the criticism for how he went out and how he's gone about it. He should have just said from jump, "Hey, I ain't playing if I gotta get vaccinated." Boom, right? But at the same time, man, I didn't like what Stephen A. Smith did to him today. I didn't really appreciate that because
I haven't seen that. What did he do?
So if we're Noah will bring it up because that's Noah's team. But if we are. I'll take sit and talk. I'm not going to let somebody, me and AC once had an argument, right, on Facebook, and we supposed to meet up and fight, some shit like that, right? We may still do it, right? But I'm not going to let now, because we in here, I'm not going to let some dude from the outside talk some shit about AC without me saying something to them. Or if we go on Clubhouse, I'm not going to let somebody talk crazy to them. I'm going to handle it here in this conversation. So for what Stephen A. Smith did today, he opened the gates for all these racists and all these other folks to jump in on the battle and not even give Kyrie a chance to finish that journey that I'm giving him the patience for. So part of what Stephen A. was really saying is he's stupid. The name calling was crazy, and Jay Williams had to check him. And Stephen A. Smith try to flex in a way like, yo, I'm the man on this show. Let me remind you, Jay.
Yeah,
right? Let me remind you, this is my show. And I don't fuck with that shit, bro. Not at all.
Well, I don't mind.
Because he tried that shit with somebody like Jay Will, who might be a little more soft spoken, who we know wasn't going to turn up.
Again,
he wasn't shit like that with Steven Jackson.
Out of line.
I can't speak on it because I haven't seen it.
Well, take a look when you get some time, AC.
We're lagging on these topics a little bit, so I don't want to expedite this one because this is important. We are going to fly through some of the other ones just for time's sake. I want to hear your take on it, and of course, I got to weigh in on my team.
Absolutely, I'll give you the just due on your team. I'll keep it pretty simple if I can. Stephen A. was out of line. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Nets will not win any championship without Kyrie Irving. You've heard it here first. So there's just a basketball sense. Let me just get to the real. Kyrie Irving has stated, and I'm going to be patient with him and give him the benefit of the doubt. He has stated very clearly, Shams NBA, check it out, The Athletic, I am not anti-vaccine. I'm against the men and women of this country losing their jobs due to freedom of choice or lack thereof. I'm so on point with Corey's stance in that he's on a journey that I think this is the biggest example of bigger than basketball that we've really had, where you've got a guy that is looking at the rest of the world and saying, "Nah, not this time. Right. Yeah, it's not this time. Nope. You know, I won't cave in this time to this. I'm sticking to my guns and literally taking a stance. And I think he's taking a strong stance for a lot of people around the world that are saying, yo, I've now got to be forced to restructure my life due to a personal choice that I want to make in not taking a particular vaccine. That is, again, let me remind you, vaccines do not mean you are cured. Aaron, my man.
I don't want to. We have to, and I would have a separate conversation with that. It's not about being cured.
Hold on, AC, let him finish.
No, AC, no, because I was going right to you, AC. I was going right to you. I understand what you're saying. I do not believe us as Black Americans, and especially Black men, should be deterred from the advances in medicine, the solutions of medicine. Absolutely not. But I think you're walking a dangerous line when you're telling our young Black men that you better convey to this particular choice. I wouldn't care what it is. This is something that I'm almost proud of Kyrie, right? Where he's saying, you know what? Nah, again, you won't get me with the contract. You won't get me with the enticing of the title. None of this. I'm not doing it. And I'm proud of that young man for that, right? Do I think that battles his fortitude to love basketball? I think he truly does. But to Corey's point again, this journey that he's been on, mental, spiritual, and physical, has taken him beyond basketball. And he is ready to literally give it up and say, you know what, I'm going to fall on this sword, man, hands down. And I cannot, as a man, as a Black man, I can't fight that. I'm all for the guys that love basketball and sacrifice for basketball, but this is different, and I have to respect it.
Right. Well said, G. I'm gonna wrap this subject up. Obviously, this is my team. That's my point guard. You guys know where I stand in terms of just freedom. You know what I mean? I think Kyrie exercising his own civil liberties is kind of what some of our ancestors fought for, died for, became martyrs for. As a fan of basketball, as a fan of the Brooklyn Nets, I understand that him not playing compromises our chances of winning a championship. You know, our window is getting smaller. You know, KD signed on. We're looking to get the rest of those guys. It hurts as a fan. As a Black man, I'm extremely proud. I'm extremely proud of what Kyrie Irving is doing. And you know, granted, everyone has their opinion, they see, in terms of, you know, is he authentic? Is it organic? Is what he's doing? I mean, we're talking about, what was he, 27, 28-year-old kid? You know, this is a kid on.
Are you counting that as a kid at 28?
I mean, excuse me, not a kid, a young man, a man, whatever the case may be. This is a dude younger than all of us here, considerably. This is a dude who is hearing the scrutiny every day, dealing with everything that comes with the decision that he's making, and he's standing on it. I saw a list in the group actually earlier. A young brother shared it, and it was a laundry list of all the activism and all the impact and all the things that Kyrie Irving has done in this journey of his in terms of impacting people's lives and giving back. And
I saw that as well. The philanthropy.
Yeah, and when we say philanthropy, we're not just talking about cutting checks, because that's easy. It's easy for someone like Kyrie Irving who makes almost $400,000 a game. We're not just talking about the money. We're talking about the work. The brother is doing the work. And I will never, ever shit on any brother doing the work. That's just not in me. And they say, I don't believe that's in you either. And I would encourage you to look at some of the work that he's doing.
I know what he's done. I've seen the list.
Okay. less the sage, less the antics, less all the shit that we might deem foolishness. The brother is standing on what he's saying. He's doing what he's talking about. He is who he's claiming to be, and that's proven through data. That's proven through however you want to research it. It's there. This is not some dude just blowing smoke up our asses. He's doing the work. I agree with you, AC, in the terms of Black people are marginalized medically. I think the statistics on Black women who are pregnant, the fatality rate is considerably higher than white women, considerably higher than
Four times.
Exactly. And I believe that's by design. I don't think that's just a lack of medicine. I think that falls right into the lines of institutionalized racism. I think everything that we have to deal with in this country that no one else has to deal with falls in the lines of institutionalized racism and systemic racism. Less that, I haven't heard much, and I'll be honest about my ignorance here. I haven't heard much about what Kyrie said specifically about this medicine. But I know that Kyrie's been injured throughout the duration of his career, from Duke, shattered his kneecap in Cleveland. He's used modern medicine. He's clearly used modern medicine. Now, he's talking, his reluctance is similar to my reluctance in terms of this vaccine. They administered this vaccine to over 100 million Americans before the FDA said it was okay. Now, this isn't just him going on a whim saying, listen, maybe take a little more time. And he's very intelligent by using, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. A lot of these folks who are losing their jobs, the language that they have to use to fight for their livelihoods is very intentional. It's very specific. You have to use specific language in order to kind of get through. He can't say that he's an anti-vaccine, even if he wanted to. But moreover, they administered a drug that wasn't even proven by the very organization we put in place to validate these medicines. He wasn't okay taking that. And frankly, how could you be? How could you be? The FDA, the people that we're supposed to trust, that we've appointed to okay these medicines, didn't even okay it, and they stuck 100 million Americans.
Every single thing you've put in your body today is not approved by the FDA. I can guarantee you.
We got that, AC, but that's also choices.
Right.
Those are all.
Okay,
you line them up. They're choices.
Let me ask you.
One mic, fellas. AC, you had your shot.
You got that, AC. My fault.
If he tomorrow, so just like with Gruden, when we had a conversation about Gruden the next day, dude's fired because of everything that we said came true. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, if we all wake up tomorrow and it says Kyrie got vaccinated, right? What are you going to say?
It's his choice. It's his choice. However you slice it, AC.
Where'd the stand go? Where'd the stand go?
You don't think this is our fourth show talking about it? It's the front page of every news cover. It's the topic on every news show.
Where did this stand go? That's what I'm asking.
It's a choice.
You don't think the world has recognized what he's doing? You don't think the world and the people who've had to sacrifice their jobs, like, not for nothing, like this shit's happening in my family, where people in my family have to make a decision now if they're going to take this vaccine or not, when they were on the front line, when they didn't have a choice, they couldn't call out. These same people we're kicking to the wayside and we're taking their jobs from them because they don't want to. Now, more importantly, what does that tell you when the medical professionals, the people who are being held accountable to take this, are unwilling to fucking take it?
First of all,
something doesn't fucking add up.
Okay,
AC, you had your shot.
I'll answer that question.
You had your shot.
You asked me a question. I was answering.
No, we all said it was a general question. It wasn't to you specifically. What is this suggesting when the medical professionals, the very medical professionals that administer this medicine, are unwilling to take it themselves? I would like to go out on a whim and say they're probably more educated about it than any of us. And nurses are being fired by the dozens, by the hundreds. Doctors, medical professionals across this country are losing their jobs as we speak because they're unwilling to take it. I mean, that means something, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to do anything for my teeth that dentists were unwilling to do. I wouldn't want to do anything to my car that mechanics weren't willing to do. Like, it means something when the very people we trust to administer these products and these drugs are unwilling to do it themselves. I'm never taking it. And I don't care who hears this. And, it's just never going to happen. I don't believe in it. It doesn't prevent you from getting it. It doesn't prevent you from getting sick. My man C-Mac right now is a vaccinated person. He's currently COVID positive. I couldn't. Were you saying something, AC? Because I was going to tell you to fight and your shot.
No.
Moreover, less the medicine, less the politics. I stand with Kyrie Irving. I respect what that brother's doing. I will never shit on any brother doing the work. It's going to hurt not having him on that floor. I do not believe we will win the championship without him. But more importantly, this is bigger than basketball. And as a black man, I stand 1,000% with Mr. Kyrie Irving.
Please, one thing. 2 seconds.
Last
2
one, we gotta
seconds.
move on.
If you and my point is, if you say that you're never taking it, and then you just gave me spiel about the FDA and everything like that, and you say that you're never taking it, so you're meaning to tell me that if the FDA says in a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, that this is 100% safe, is the best thing in the world, and you've already proclaimed you're never taking it, that's telling me that you're not. This is not an analytical decision. It's an emotional decision, and I think that's what gets dangerous. And I'll shut up. That's all.
Hey, see, if they tell me it will prevent me from getting COVID, sign me up. But I'm not taking anything if I can still get the COVID and I can still spread it. What's the point? What is the point of me injecting?
I'm gonna answer that offline. Offline, I'm gonna answer that.
Cool. There's no point in me taking an injection that can't guarantee my safety and it'll still allow me to catch the disease, allow me to still spread it. And it just got to, one of them just got approved by the FDA. We're going to move on, fellas, because we got some other conversations to have that are super important. I know those were the heavy ones. I'm glad we got those out the way early. We've already been on for an hour. I appreciate everybody tapped in with us, locking in. Brothers really getting to it in this one, man. We got a good group. I'm going to start this one off with my man G Money. Smooth, how are we feeling about Mr. Jordan Poole, man? Michigan product. How are we feeling about it?
Michigan product was a hell of a player in high school. Jordan Poole is on his way to some kind of most improved award journey. I don't think this makes the big difference in Golden State, right? That's where I differ from Corey. I don't know how AC feels about that. I'm interested to hear about that. I don't know how you feel about that. But I've talked about this extensively in Clubhouse. And shout out to the Sit and Talk family in Clubhouse. You all have been great. This is again really overwhelming, and Corey is kind of will be attest to that. Noah will attest to that. We've lost some sleep due to that.
I needed the app. I got you.
Yeah. It's again exciting, but trust me, overwhelming and fun though. That being said, I don't think Jordan Poole is the all of a sudden. This isn't the Warriors whisperer now, guys. All right.
MIP, not MVP.
I'm not sure he's even the MIP. I think Jordan Poole solidifies himself as a contributing starter, solidifying that role as far as he goes in this league. I do not think Jordan Poole is going to change complete life to the point that I don't think they earn a number 4 seed just because Jordan Poole can give a little more production than they thought in place of Klay Thompson early on before he comes back, right? I think he's expanded his ball handling. All right, I think he's expanded his ability to make reads in the pick and roll. He was already a pretty gifted passer for a guy his size. But Jordan Poole's thing has always been energy. That kid plays with an energy and a joy in basketball like any other. And I do like watching him play. I will not discredit that. I love watching Jordan Poole play. But I do think the dynamic that is Golden State and the elite Golden State, that comes with prolific offensive ability combined with the same defensive ability to shut teams down or get key stops while they're in the dead shootout with guys. Like I just don't think Jordan Poole is the huge difference. I think they maintain a 6 to 8 seedish. That's where I have them. But I think Jordan Poole will show that he's a credible starter in the league. Maybe the edge of MIP. But I'm not super sold where I'm about to say, as we've heard in Clubhouse, Corey, perennial all-star. We've heard everything on Jordan Poole. Everything. Corey didn't say that, by the way.
I was about to say, C-Mac.
Yeah, Corey didn't say that, by the way. But we've heard everything on Jordan Poole.
I did say before the preseason, this book could attest to this, that he was going to be very good. Now, I think the reason I think that he helps the Warriors is because they go from a 6 to 8 category to a top 4 seed in the West. Because he has shown a comfort level that I could tell will translate to the regular season. He has shown that the game has slowed down for him a little bit as well, right? And with the good thing about preseason, they'll just start scheming wrong against the Warriors and think he's going to be an initial threat until he has in the NBA. You have to prove that you won, right?
Yeah.
So by having to, I think he is one of the critical factors as to why they are going to be a top 4 in the West from a 6 to 8. That sort of improvement, I see it with that game improving as well, right? And then most importantly, man, with the one of the really cool things about watching his sort of evolution is that he kind of really doesn't need the ball. You give another good shooting guy in the Warriors that doesn't need the ball, you then become something that a team that could get hot at the right time and just knock everyone off. And that's something that you have to watch. So I'm all in. I'm not all in on All-Star. I'm all in on between 16 and 18 points per game. I'm all in on him being on the floor at the end of the games. And I'm all in on them being in the top 4 because of his potential emergence.
Wow. Good point, C-Mac. AC, and then I'll close it up. We're going to move through these next few topics quickly, fellas.
I'll be brief. It's Jordan Poole on a 6 to 8 seed team. On a team that's descending, not ascending. It's Jordan Poole. Yeah, he's better than he was. He doesn't suck. I'm done.
Thank you, AC.
Love it.
I'm really happy to see, and I think Corey used the best word for this emergence, and it's comfort. The young dude looks very comfortable out there. He looks like the pressures of the pro level have kind of faded off him. Where he's getting into his spots, he looks very comfortable. He looks like he's just playing basketball, very cerebral. Right now he's back in his essence. My only question, if they're gonna try to use him at the 2, what is he? Is he 6'3", 6'4"?
Oh, Jordan Poole's about 6'5", 6'6".
Okay, he doesn't look that tall. My only concern was if they're going to have him on the floor and with course of some of those crunch time pieces. Are you suggesting, Corey, they move Clay to the 3 and have Poole out there at 6? Let me see how tall this dude is.
Clay is 6'7", right? 6'6".
Yeah, Clay's 6'6", 6'7", and I don't think Jordan Poole.
I've seen Clay match up with bigger small forwards.
Clay's a defender. He can play deep.
So there's room for Poole to be on the floor. And I like to put another thing in about the Warriors that all reported in the preseason is shooting 59% from 3. So it just the way they're going to be able to open up the floor, by default, it'll be fun to watch. They may get beat on some nights on the boards and get killed, but they'll be fun to watch. And I think it's hard. You'll be hard pressed to beat that team. I don't think they go on like multiple losing streaks at all. Not with the way they're on
6 to 8 threes a game in the preseason. You guys comfortable with Jordan Poole just chucking it up like that?
It's not going to look like that when it matters. Fellas, we cannot get stuck on these topics. We're already running crunched on time. Shout out to Jordan Poole. We hope that the brother has a very successful season.
Absolutely.
We're gonna move forward, man. The next topic, man, I'm gonna really try for us not to get long-winded on it, even though we probably will. There's a situation about some perhaps black nepotism. We got a situation out in Utah where the young brother is now signed to the G League team, and his dad just happens to be the owner of the pro team. And a lot of people are upset about it. I'm hearing a lot of things like he's not deserving of it. We're hearing a lot of things like he's taking a spot from a brother who's more qualified, a player who's more qualified, excuse me. How do we feel about this Wade situation out in Utah? Is it justified? Is it okay? Is it, maybe just a bit of black nepotism, which we need a lot more of?
It's confusing.
It's about, I'll start.
I'll start with you.
Huh?
So I'm gonna start with you, C-Mac.
Go ahead, Corey.
It's about fucking time. It's about fucking time we pulled the nepotism bullshit.
Right.
Sam Malone. Y'all know who Sam Malone is? Sam Malone played at Situate High School with.
My man Sam. I was just with Sam at the gala. Kentucky went to Kentucky.
Yep. Sam.
I do.
You think Sam should have went to Kentucky?
Hell no.
You think Sam should have been on a roster with Anthony Davis?
Sam was on the roster with a senior year with an undefeated Kentucky team going into that game against Wisconsin.
Oh, why was Sam Malone on the Kentucky? Was on the Kentucky team?
Well, we know why. We know why.
Because of his father.
His father. It's definitely his father.
Shout out dads everywhere.
If if I'm a brother and I finally get a chance to elevate my son, like, and not do the Michael Jordan thing, Michael Jordan was like, nah, man, you suck, bro. Just go sell my shit. You know? Why not? Why not put my son? Why not give my son, put 20 pounds on my son and hope he gets it late? You know? And at worst come to worst, he'll be working for the Utah Jazz, right? Why not get an early entry, an early onboarding into the NBA? I have zero problem with Dwayne Wade's horrible ass not going left, now shooting motherfucking son.
I mean, so to Corey's point, and
G, I'm gonna let you close this one out.
Go ahead. Go ahead, AC.
Well, AC.
I'm for it. Like everybody said, I've been in business and retail for a long time, whether it be retail or on the corporate side and other industries. I've given jobs to people from Roxbury simply because they were from Roxbury.
Amen.
And I do so with no shame. I make sure they're qualified.
Black teachers. I'm hiring black teachers.
Listen, I'm trying to get over there to Everett now. Shit.
It is the same. It is the same thing there. There's like as soon as they did this move, we all know, Wade can't play. Everybody who's watched ball knows that he can't play and he shouldn't be there. But he's getting the shot because of who he knows. And there is nothing, especially in Utah, there is nothing wrong with we being in a position. We should be celebrating the fact that we're in positions now to do this bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm not calling it bullshit. It is absolutely bullshit. But it's some bullshit that we can smile about, we can laugh and joke about, and yay, good for him.
Good. I'm gonna tap in real quick, G. Then
Go ahead, do your thing.
Anybody who knows I'm all in favor of a little black nepotism. There should be a lot more of it. I hope brothers continue giving other brothers these opportunities simply for the fact that they're brothers. I will say though, in a matter of fairness, I think it looks a little different with the league. You know what I mean? This is not a lawyer, a senior partner, at a law firm giving his son the look where it really doesn't matter. Where, the G League, the NBA, all of those seats are so exclusive. I did feel a little way about it because there is a young brother who doesn't have a rich dad who might have deserved that shot, who's probably a lot better than Wade's son. That's the only part about it. As a fan of sports, as an athlete myself, that's the part of it I didn't really look at. That's the only part that bothered me because there's a young brother who don't got a dad worth $200 million who gets to fall back on. That might have been his shot to take care of his family, feed his kids and shit. But less that, black nepotism all the way. I can't wait to open doors for my sons. I can't wait to do shit for my kids.
Is that a shirt?
All the
black
way.
Nepotism all the way.
Straight up, man. I'm black first.
I can't. Again, I will not knock anything that y'all dudes have said. Father myself, of course, I give my kid a shot. You kidding me?
Big dad.
1000%. But it's confusing for me from the standpoint where I thought his son might have been a little closer to finding his niche as a collegiate player. Let's just call out the facts. Did not get off the bench at Sierra Canyon. Gabrielle went and made again, just go ask around and read the report. Gabrielle, not even Wade, Dwayne, Gabrielle went and made a big stink in Sierra Canyon and to the coaching staff. Said that they were playing up to these whiteys and just, again, acting a fool over the fact that her stepson.
Gabrielle got to shut up. She turning black boys into girls.
Again, just literally not, just throwing up a big stink about her stepson not cracking the lineup, right? Goes to Brewster, doesn't do much there. Kid from here, DeSante Bowen, probably just, at this point, world's better, simply better than him going to Iowa. So I wonder, I'll land on this. Will we see this also, not only with Dwayne Wade, but will we also see this from a guy who's sitting in LA right now in LeBron James? Will we see something like this down the line? I have no issue with it whatsoever.
Right.
But I'm curious if we're going to see this down the line.
You definitely will.
With that young man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But at least in this particular case, think about the kind of economics that's going to have. Think about how that plays out economically. right? There's zero economic benefit to Zaire Wade being in Utah.
Right. Come on, man. Come on, man.
LeBron's son going to LA will definitely have some economic dividends.
So just for reference, they marketed Ball is Life marketed LeBron's son versus Mikey Williams. Is that kid the same as Mikey Williams? No, but he was getting top billing along with that, along with Mikey, and you see that
they
it
also
didn't
played
match.
together, during their younger years. But
Yeah.
that's exactly it. This is marketing.
I didn't even know LeBron's son was in the video.
Listen, it's this marketing thing, man. It's gonna work, especially between these two. Oh my God, absolutely. I do it.
Right.
I do it hands down.
Right.
I would do it without even blinking. Son, you want to come play in the league? Come on.
Don't get your ass bust though.
Right. Listen. It's on you once you get there. But I got you. Listen, if Doc Rivers, if once Doc signed his son to that extension, I knew all bets were off.
Yeah, people forget about that.
I was like, oh yeah. I was like, every coach that has got a son will absolutely.
I wasn't even mad at Doc. Doc was like,
I wasn't mad at that. I'm not.
generation.
What y'all thought was going to happen? It's my baby.
Pay your baby.
We're going to take a quick turn off the NBA. Man, we had such a powerful show 2 days ago, man, with the brothers. We're speaking on some of this NFL stuff. Obviously, front and center NFL right now is John Gruden in that situation. It was kind of beautiful, AC. I felt like we spoke that into existence. As soon as we hung up, they fired it.
Y'all definitely did, man.
Y'all definitely did. I did to say that. Y'all definitely did that.
After we wrapped, the alert came in.
Y'all definitely did that.
Right. So they removed his likeness and his accolades from Tampa Bay, where he was the head coach of a championship team. Just a real quick, right or wrong, how y'all feel about it?
That was dumb. What's the fuck? You think Memphis is going to denounce Elvis?
No, nobody was thinking about that.
The fuck? I don't give a fuck. You think these ignorant motherfuckers in California can denounce John Wade? Nobody think about that shit.
Right. I appreciate the sentiment. You know what I'm saying? He violated, and they're just letting us know that they know that he violated, and go for it, all for it.
And Tom Brady had the red hat in his locker right now in Tampa Bay. You think they're removing it? No. FOH.
Shout out to my dog AD. That's the greatest pilgrim ever.
Greatest pilgrim
ever. Fellas, we're gonna take another right about the NFL, and we're gonna get to the NCAA. How do you guys feel about USC hiring their first black coach? You know about this? You guys know?
Oh yeah, I do. So here's the thing. I think that dude might be set up to fail, and I'll tell you why. UCLA is raking them in, right? The way Mike Cronin is recruiting right now, they're raking them in. So it's going to be hard pressed for him to get a California recruit. Now, the difference between the East Coast and the West Coast love their West Coast people.
Right.
So is he going to be able to stretch himself across this side of the line to get players to compete with UCLA? Because UCLA is running ragged out there under Cronin. Right. I hope he does well.
Right. I'm gonna tap in real quick, fellas, and I'm gonna let you guys wrap it up. Again, I forget the sister who said it, but I'm with everyone who black. You know what I'm saying? I do think I'm rocking with everybody who black, just off rip. I believe what's the brothers? Dante Williams, is it?
Dante Williams, 39 years old.
Right. Shout out to the young brother getting in there, man. I do feel like it's a loaded kind of a position because, again, I do know what's going on out there with Cronin and the recruiting, and I don't know if that brother's going to be able to keep up in the arms race. But nonetheless, giving his brother a shot, it's great. It's great to get him in there, first ever. But it could be a double-edged sword where if it really looks bad and it really bombs, that kind of the powers that be start reeling back then. Look, we gave you a try and you blew it. So, we're going to be cool on y'all for a little while. But nonetheless, let's hope the brother does well. Shout out to Mr. Williams getting an opportunity. Let's go G and then let's go AC to close.
No, I screwed that up. I'm sorry. I was crossing over my things. I hope he does have a I hope he is successful. I use Cronin as the UCLA basketball, but it was football. I was bugging. My fault.
Got you.
I used his counterpart. I used the wrong counterpart. I'm just checking myself.
And for the record, he ain't lying. Cronin is raking them in UCLA.
Right.
Yeah. I think a great hire. Not so great timing. Oregon has started to resurge. UCLA, the football team, is starting to resurge.
It's crunchy out there in the West.
Man, listen, Pac-10 football ain't just, shits and giggles now. They breed players out of there. So I think it'll be a couple of things is what he can do in terms of the players and putting them in places where the NFL is used to seeing those USC guys in the draft. Mm-hmm. But in terms of listen, this is going to come down to that bottom line of winning. And I think he'll fare as any other USC coach, right? They'll give him 2 years, and if they don't see nothing, see you later.
Yeah, he needs to get a top-notch quarterback. If you're gonna, you need to be littered with. You need to be littered with three really good quarterbacks, and 1 or 2 and 3 in USC for you.
This is USC we're talking about, guys. USC. It's a little different. I hope he absolutely does well, but Pac-10 has gotten better. So I'll just say that.
Right.
When you say
Pac-12,
USC, to me, it's when you say it's UFC, the reason that I'm not like enthusiastic about this hire is because to me it smacks of Ty Willingham. So you give a black man a job when it's the ashes. So you vote in Obama after.
You there?
After the housing crisis, every single.
AC, you going in and out, brother. I know you're making some good points. I don't know if you want to move your phone around. You're going in and out. We're not getting the knowledge.
That we.
I mean, the same thing with the brother from Texas, right?
If right, and if you can hear me, the same sort of thing. If he's the dynamo that he should be, we should be talking about him for LSU. We should be talking about him for programs that aren't in the ashes. And I really feel, and I don't want to get too conspiracy theory. I don't want to get too militant. When I talk about agendas,
no, AC, you making sense. You're making sense.
When I talk about agendas, whether it be medical or things like that, I think that for those brothers who do believe in those conspiracy theories, it is, if you go by the data, it cannot be an accident that when we get these type of jobs, it is always fucking ashes. Right. And so if he does well, oh, cool, it's UFC. Look at the program. It's OJ. He's recruiting in Los Angeles, blah, blah, blah. If he does bad, like Ty Willingham, like if we want to talk anything, forget every other conspiracy theory. When you look at Ty Willingham in Notre Dame, that is the biggest piece of bullshit that has ever been so openly. They didn't even hide it. And you had Charlie Weiss, winning the same amount of games. Ty Willingham had a little bit of hiccup as he's trying to build a program that was in ashes. The most storied program in college football history. He got one shot. And they ran this dude to the point to where he never recovered. And USC, I want him to do well. I just don't want him in that position. Right. If he's so good, he should be, I'm in Louisiana right now. LSU is in turmoil. They're talking about all kinds, Urban Meyer. They're talking about Bill Belichick, down here at LSU. If he's so good, I want to see us get LSU jobs. I want to see us get a program to where, let's say Urban Meyer, let's say Urban Meyer leaves Ohio State. Where's this kid, coming in for Ohio State? Let him get that job, not the USC job. I don't want to see that anymore.
Give him the again. Charlie, somebody mentioned my man Timmy Donahue on Facebook said Charlie Strong didn't have a chance at Texas. Damn sure didn't. Mm-hmm. Absolutely didn't. And so it's like I almost feel like whether you go to USC, whether you go to Texas. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Those should not be the only jobs available.
Plus, you're USC, right? You can't go get a top assistant from the NFL. You're fucking USC, right? You don't get somebody that with very little experience in that seat. Right. You go get somebody from the NFL. You're USC.
And you know why you don't have a top assistant from the NFL? Because a top assistant from the NFL ain't stupid. He's
No.
not going, and not to say that the brother's stupid, but a top assistant's like, I ain't taking that bullshit. So
Nope.
then they go, okay, give it, like Paul Mooney used to say, I'm not going to use the word that he uses, but give it to the black man. 1-800 dial. Use a different word.
He's stupid.
Right.
Aaron, Aaron, you pretty much called him stupid. That's all right.
No. He's not going to take
it. We could probably do another episode on Paul Mooney's shit alone.
Oh man, listen.
R.I.P. the legend.
R.I.P. to the legend, man. R.I.P. to the God.
Fellas, we gonna pull this together, man. We on our black berets right now, so it's only right that we speak about Bubba Wallace real quick. First brother to cross that get the checkered flag since 1963. Shout out to Bubba Wallace. I know NASCAR doesn't get enough spin in the group or on our podcast, but we had to acknowledge the man Bubba Wallace doing that since first brother since 1963. Shout out to Bubba Wallace.
Shout out to Bubba.
Most definitely. I mean, we can make a U-turn real quick and talk about the Red Sox doing what they're doing. They always.
Core's cheating. He's cheating. Very simple. That's my thoughts on it.
Core's cheating.
That team sucks. He's cheating.
The Red Sox are doing Red Sox things in October. I'm not going to get too hung up on that. We had to mention it. We're kind of at our time, man. But we want to make sure that people get everything they need from us in this episode. Real quick, we're going to take that left back onto NFL Boulevard. I don't think we reconvene anytime tomorrow. So let's get some NFL Thursday projections. We got the GOAT going against the young brother in Hurts in Philly. Brothers, give me winning teams and final scores. AC, we'll start with you.
I'm on the fence right now. I'm still looking at it, but the spread 6.5. I'm comfortable taking. Yeah. I'm comfortable taking Philly with the points right now. I'm not 100% positive. I won with Philly on the road at Carolina with that at 3. That 6.5 line, that's a bit much for me. I might tease it a little bit, tease it down. But if I'm betting, I'm saying Philly covers that line. Tampa Bay on the road is short week. Brady's old. Yes, it's still Brady, but he still is old. And
number one quarterback in the league based on statistics currently.
He is. He's the greatest player of all time in any sport. But 6.5, give it to me. I'll take those points with Philly.
Copy. Final score, AC?
35-30. 35-30, Tampa Bay.
Let's go, my guy, C-Mac. Give me winner.
I won't be long at all. I think Tampa Bay wins 31-16. I think Philly gets a late touchdown and go for it in 2. And I think I don't know if I don't know. I think Fields is going to have to throw. And although he's I'm not Fields, I'm sorry. Hurts is going to have to throw. Because I'm only saying because I'm a Bears fan. But Hurts is going to have to throw a lot. And I don't know if he could get. I don't know if anybody can run on that front 7 of Tampa Bay. So
Miles Sanders pick up a part-time job anyway. They're not running it.
Huh?
Miles Sanders might as well pick up a part-time job. They're not using him anyway.
Right. So I don't think it's going to be. I don't even think. I think they're going to get their 16 points late, but that's it. I think it's 31-16.
No secondary, though, from Tampa Bay.
True, but he doesn't throw it. He also doesn't. I don't know how well he throws that ball. I mean, they're still very hard. The guys who are there, they still freaking punish you. The linebackers punish you across the middle, but I don't know if they're gonna beat up on them like that.
Right. G, give me predictions and final score.
Goddard's got COVID, so he won't play, and I think that was the biggest help for a guy like Jalen Hurts. I think it's 27-13. I don't think they put up the 35 plus, but I do think they beat him convincingly, and maybe Jalen scores, a touchdown late, to get it to double digits. But this looks like typical Tampa Bay domination, and on to the next week.
I also do not think Tampa Bay wins the Super Bowl.
That's a hot take we gotta get into next go round. Thursday night's game, I got Bucks 34-20. Philly gets a late touchdown. I think just going against the GOAT first time is going to be overwhelming. Bright lights. Tom is going to assault them very early. A lot of touchdowns really quick. Desperation kicks in, makes them one-dimensional. That front seven gets to kind of pin their ears back against the young boy. And I hope Jalen has some ice and some icy hot or whatever else he's going to need. I think he takes a little bit of a beating.
Yeah, he takes a beating. He takes a beating Thursday.
Granted, Levante David isn't playing. Shout out Levante David, but they still have just too much in that front seven. They're going to have to throw the ball. They're not going to be able to run, and it's going to get pretty ugly. So I got, again, 34-20. Fellas, man, I got more subjects for us to get into. I'm over the time. We done got so deep into stuff. We done touched on everything like we normally do, man. It's always a pleasure to see you brothers, man. Shout out to my guy, C-Mac. Prayers up for you, man. Hoping that COVID get about that system real quick.
Yes.
I just want to be able to taste some food, man. I just want to be able to taste
I know, man, but that got to be tough.
AC, I know you're busy down there and all over the world, man. Love you, man. Appreciate you always. G, you already know me and you, family, man, always.
You already know, brother.
I appreciate your time. I appreciate the insights. I appreciate the knowledge. I appreciate the love. It's S&T. You already know what we do. Follow us, S&T Sports, on all social media platforms, sitandtalksports.com. Tap into the YouTube. Make sure you do that. Subscribe, tell a friend, and tell a friend. This is the best part of sports. Is what we do. We are the intersection of sports and culture. I'm your guy, Noah. We'll see you guys next go around. S&T, we out.
All right.